The Simpsons just then. I think I wanted to make sure that my microphone was working. So anyway, hi.
VIP people, I have a question for you guys. Do you care if some of the seats next to you are occupied by general admission people? Come on up, guys. Don't run. Do not freak out, please. This is not Altamont for crying out loud.
Excuse me, sorry.
And as people are filtering into those seats and we're allowing more people to come in, I'm going to say this right up front. When John Barrowman was here, and Stephen, I'll tell you this as well. When John Barrowman was here at Dallas Comic Con in May, he let slip a plot point that had not been broadcast yet, involving the, shall we say, vitality of his character. Okay. Got into a little skosh of trouble on that because that plot detail had not gotten out yet.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about current episodes. If you are not up to date, earmuffs. Alright? Are we clear on that? I don't want to hear, that's a spoiler alert, I didn't want to hear that! So just get it out of your system now and then we're done. Stephen, welcome to Texas. Thank you for coming out to the Sci-Fi Spot.
My wife's family grew up in Houston. And I've always joked about with my daughter when people ask, well, is she gonna be American or is she gonna be Canadian? Because I'm from Toronto, and I go, she's a third American, she's a third Canadian, and she's a third Texan. True story.
Way to play to the room, boss. All right.
That's true. It's true. You can ask anyone.
When you were in the process of casting for this show, you knew that it was going to be a long arc show. CW willing, you had a long journey that this character, Oliver Queen, had to play. A lot of mythology, a lot of history. What's going through your head during the process as you start to audition for the role?
Well, I'd like to say that I was thinking macro and thinking the long arc, but I was thinking I'd really like to get this job. And if I get this job, I really don't want the pilot to suck. And if the pilot doesn't suck, then maybe we can get a first season. And it is really difficult to think because the show is built. Oliver has a 5-year backstory, and we have a plan to tell that backstory over 5 seasons. That's the plan. But all you ever think about is, we're shooting episode 18 right now. It's our 41st episode. And all you think is, we need to make our 41st episode better than our previous 40 episodes. That's all that you can really think about when you are in it every day.
We were talking backstage right before we came out, and you told me that you're still in the process of shooting it. You're not going to be done shooting season 2 until early April.
April 17th.
How tight of a turnaround is it from, like, let's say principal photography ends on an episode to when we actually see it on air?
So we're going to wrap our 23rd episode on April 17th, and you're going to see it on May 15th. I don't think the finale, some of the stuff that I've heard about the finale and the size and the scope of it, we are actually saving money on episodes that we're shooting right now so that we can put it into the finale. And I have no idea how they're going to turn that around in time. I bet you the final cut of that episode will not be ready until literally days before it actually goes on air.
Had you done a salmon ladder before you did the audition for Arrow?
No. I was in shape. I had a pull-up bar in my living room in my apartment in Hollywood. And I'd have my buddies over to watch football on Sunday, and we would have like competitions to see who could do the most chin-ups throughout the course of the day. And all the salmon ladder is a chin-up with a dance move built in. And the guy who taught me parkour, Paul Darnell, doubled Henry Cavill in Man of Steel for the flying sequences, because Paul can actually fly. he taught me how to do it. And if I didn't have somebody there teaching me the actual technique, it would have taken a little bit longer. But as it stood, I learned it pretty quick.
You know there's a drinking game for Era.
Sure, okay.
Anytime you pop on that salmon ladder, you finish your drink.
Really?
So, yeah, because it's the end-all be-all move for it. I mean, is there any like gag behind the scenes on the salmon ladder at this point?
No, but Katie Lotz did the salmon ladder in the previous episode, and I can, for all the ladies out there, I can absolutely, positively, 100% confirm that she did it herself, and it was amazing. And they told her that they wanted her to do it, and when they told her they wanted her to do it, she could barely do a chin-up. She's strong, like, I think she could kick my ass, actually. And she learned, she went crazy. She had like calluses on her hands. She went for it. Good for her. But I can do more than her.
Right now.
Okay?
Right now.
Right now, I can do more than her.
That may change in a couple weeks, but by the time we get to the end of season 2.
Yep.
We've got people lined up for questions, and we'll bounce back and forth between it. But one more bit. Is there one cast member, because a phenomenal cast, it's up and down the line, great characters, and we're going to see more of them over the course of the 5-show run, knock on desk, CW willing, and because it's not Fox, so they're not going to cancel it without anything else. Is there one person where if they're not on set that day, your rhythm is thrown? You're just like, or over the course of a week, like they're not in that episode.
You know, I've become extremely good friends with David Ramsey, and you know, David's like way older than you think he is. I always joke that he's like 7 years old, and he's in amazing shape, and he and I become really good buddies. And episode 16, which is called The Suicide Squad, it's a Diggle episode, right? We take 9 days of shooting, and I don't think that I've ever had anything less than 7 days, and I only have 4 days on this episode. It's all him. And yeah, him having that shot in that episode, I don't know, warms my heart, because I think that's, you know, the Diggle character is so fantastic, and for it to be introduced on our show and then find a thread into the comics and actually start being written in the comics is just such a testament to him. And yeah, if he's not around, I'm sad.
All right, we'll start over here.
I want to start off by saying I was really disappointed I didn't get to have a picture with you. I was standing in line and they canceled it. 10 people in front of me.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Do
you want to get a picture now? What's your question?
And my question was, we've been seeing more and more actual superheroes and villains appear. What other superheroes and villains can I expect to see on the rest of season 2?
Way to push your luck, kid.
Well, we've seen the Deathstroke costume, so we know that that's happening. And newbies. I can tell you 2 things, okay? 2 things. 1, we will see another hero costume before the end of the season. And 2, we will see people from Central City before the end of the season.
Yeah!
You're welcome.
One sentence was more details on an upcoming bit than Karen Gillan gave us about Guardians of the Galaxy and the entire
I'm the worst at spoilers. You can pull almost anything out of me if you word it correctly.
Right over here.
So, like, were you afraid of, like, a backlash of, like, people thinking you're, like, a horrible choice or a horrible actor? But you're not. You're great. You're great.
You mean like when I was cast originally?
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't really pay attention to any of it, but it's a fairly common and expected reaction when, listen, people bitched when Christian Bale was cast as Batman. I mean, everybody is going to have an opinion, especially when you had a character that had been portrayed by Justin Hartley on Smallville, and Justin did a great job in that show. This is a different show and it's a different vibe, but no, there's always gonna be backlash. But I knew that if we did a good job, then everything would eventually turn around and people would support just as fervently as they were angry.
You're active on Twitter, you're active on Facebook. How much of the feedback do you actually get into, or allow yourself to look at over the course of a shoot?
Once I've learned, I learn lines really fast, and I do it by reading the script. I read the script 4 or 5 times, and then when it comes time to shoot the scene, because we don't shoot the episodes in order. I mean, it would be way better and much easier to actually, because it would help you chart your journey. So I really familiarize myself with the entire script, and once I do that, sitting around on set, I don't have room in my brain for, I'm not going to sit down and read a book, like Malcolm Gladwell's new book, or something like that. I mentioned this before. But I do have time to scroll through Facebook, and scroll through Twitter. And, you know, it's amazing, as the page, as my Facebook page in particular has gotten bigger, you'd think that it would become more difficult to see the important messages, or the messages that really resonate, but because it's such an active community on the page, it's actually become much easier, because the comments that are really impressive, or particularly insightful, they bubble up to the top because people like them, and then I see them. So, I just have a love affair with Facebook. I don't know what it is, but I really enjoy it.
Right back over here.
Yeah, I was standing in line to get a picture. No, I'm really impressed with the physical stunts you guys do. I wanted to talk about the training and some of the consultants that you guys bring in to help pull that off, the authenticity.
We have JJ Mark Rowe is our stunt coordinator. James Bam Bam Bamford is our fight choreographer.
Absolutely.
We have John Kralt, who's I've punched John in the face so many times on the show. He's our stunt everyman. We have Simon Burnett, who doubles me on the show. And we have this running joke that when I see Simon and he's not doubling, I'm incredibly pleasant to him. And when he's doubling me, I'll just walk right up to him and I'll go, "What the fuck are you doing?" Part of my language. Sorry. Earmuffs.
We don't speak French in Texas.
Right. But that whole stunt team, they get the script, they come up with the fight, and they shoot a previs for the fight. And, you know, the directors don't outthink the room. The directors pretty much look at that previs and then base our shooting schedule around what they design. Every once in a while, they'll come to me for an idea, because oftentimes for a fight, they'll come up with this elaborate 4-part move. And I'll come in with, well, how about instead of that, I just punch him in the face. Anyway, last year in our 20th episode, we did it was either our 20th or our 21st episode, but when I rescued Walter, we had a big hallway fight, which was meant to be a nod to the raid. And we are doing a sequence like that in episode 18, and they described it as the hallway sequence on steroids. That thing's going to destroy me.
How much of it do you get to do?
I get to do more than they would like.
That's
If it were up to Greg Berlanti, I would just sit on the sidelines for the entire stunt sequence, and you'd superimpose my face in at the end.
Do you have a physical trainer for your bod?
Not really. Doing a lot of yoga. And lifting an infant. Lifting an infant's good for your arms and your feet.
Oh, that's CGI.
I tell you.
Also good for getting kicked in the head.
Also, yeah,
Thanks, Steve.
thank you.
Right back over here.
For a lot of people, you really set the bar for Green Arrow. I mean, there were before, like, person before you, but at the same time, there were people before Batman. And a lot of people like Kevin Conroy, like they prefer him as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel knowing that you're the person for Green Arrow, that you like really brought that to life and just being like that icon?
How do you think it would feel being an actor? Yeah, it feels pretty awesome, and I need to remind myself, because I get to put on the suit is awesome. Like, the costume is great. Colleen Atwood designed it, and she's won a couple of Academy Awards, and she did like Edward Scissorhands, like amazing stuff. And I need to remind myself how fantastic it is that I get to wear a superhero suit when I put it on. And if I don't remind myself, oh, cool, yeah.
Thanks, Booth.
And if I don't, we'll have a guest star come on and they'll see the costume and they'll be like, oh, that's awesome. And I go, oh yeah, it is.
Thank you for saying later. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for a little bit.
Right back over here.
Out of, for DC comic villains that haven't appeared on the show, who would you want to have appear on the show?
I want to have Ra's al Ghul appear on the show, for sure. Let me clarify something about the pronunciation of Ra's al Ghul's name. Because Nissa, in the most recent episode, says Raish. But it has been established prior to me getting to say it by people that exist in Starling City that it's Ra's. So I needed to follow suit, despite mild protestations made by me. But it would be fantastic to see that character on the show. We've certainly name-dropped him a few times. A lot.
And then Liam Neeson could show up and throw a punch every time. Right back over here.
So I read that before starting your archery training, you got to watch a 45-minute video of how poorly archery had been portrayed in movies and TV.
That's right.
I wanted to know if you could share with us some of those bad stuff, and if you ever caught yourself while shooting about to do one of those.
Anytime that there's a CGI arrow, anytime that I fire the bow on set, there's Patricia Gonsalves is my archery coach, consultant, etc. And even to this day, I'll just be about to do a take and she'll come in and go, elbow up, elbow up, elbow up. But she showed me 45 minutes of archery done poorly, where you can tell that people aren't actually firing an arrow. Because when you think about it, when I reach back, sorry to pull the curtain back a little bit, but when I reach back and I pull out an arrow from here, I'm not grabbing an arrow. And when I bring stuff here, there's nothing in my hand. So you have to make sure that your form is great. And the biggest thing is, when you actually fire an arrow, your hand's right here, you just release your hand. That's it. The big telltale that people are faking it is when they flip their hand back. And in the archery world, that is called Legolas. And I don't know what that means.
Between you and Katniss Everdeen, archery is exploding in this country right now.
Yeah.
Have you thought about any kind of endorsement deal, perhaps? Maybe a bow maker, maybe?
I'd certainly be up for a competition.
Sure.
Archery's really coming around, and I've said this several times, but in the same way that you want to be protective of the comic books for people that have been reading Green Arrow. I mean, I've met a bunch of people today that have been reading Green Arrow for decades. As protective and true to the comics as you want to be, you also want to be protective of archery, because it's a sport and a discipline that people take really seriously. So it's just as important being an ambassador for that as it is an ambassador for the comic books.